Hello everyone, my name is Bree and welcome to Document a Journey. I am still working through this sketchbook. I literally have one page left, if you just noticed. It is sketched, I just haven't completed it. I am going to be recording a lesson for my patrons this month. It is the $5 tier if you're interested, and every month I give them an exclusive video, and this month is going to be a lesson, and I'm really excited about it. I'm kind of piggybacking off of the Sketchbook Club. The Sketchbook Club is the next tier up, so it is the $10 tier, but our focus for the month is fish. I mean, hello, look what I'm sketching right now, or painting. But our focus for the month is fish, and so I am going to go ahead and record an exclusive video or an exclusive lesson for the Roots tier, the $5 tier. My daughter has been participating in this month's focus, and she did the first study with us. I'm hoping I can get either my daughter, maybe my son, to also participate in the lesson. So if you are interested, I will have my Patreon listed in the description box below. As you know, Kat Riles and I have been doing a sketchbook challenge, and we are trying to just finish the sketchbooks that we already have in use before we buy or start a new one. And like I said in my last video, I needed some motivation to finish this one up because it's been sitting with me for a very long time, and I am proud to say that I'm so close to being done. This page that you're looking at, I went ahead and sketched some bugs with ballpoint pen first, and then I sketched this fish as well, ballpoint pen, and then I am just watercoloring it up. This is a Stillman and Burn, and I think it is the, let me check. I'm pretty sure it is the Zeta series. Yes, Zeta series. It is a smooth paper. It's supposed to be a mixed media paper. You will notice that as I layer and layer and layer, the page becomes a little saturated and it'll start to pill. It's not that big of a deal because it is a sketchbook, but I would keep that in mind if you do purchase this notebook. It is very similar paper to the Stratosphere Mixed Media. I say this a lot, but I do get that question asked a lot, so I just want to be forthcoming. I really like these sketchbooks, Stillman and Burn sketchbooks. The construction of the sketchbook is probably my favorite thing. If I was going to be repurchasing one of these sketchbooks, I would probably just repurchase the Epsilon series. The Epsilon series is thinner paper. It is mainly just for sketching, but I just like the feel of it better. I like the crinkle of the page, and no, I cannot add as many layers of watercolor, but there's something freeing about that paper that I can just feel like if I mess up, it's no big deal. I can flip the page. There are more pages in the sketchbook because it is thinner, and so that is the one I would repurchase. However, if you like to use mixed media, you like a smooth page, this sketchbook is for you. And the construction, what I was talking about, that is there are less glue edges. So in the middle of the binding, they do use a glue and they do stitch it. And there are less areas where glue kind of seeps through the binding and creates this like weird gutter in the middle. And with watercolor, it's really hard to, well, it is impossible to watercolor over glue, so it acts as a resist. So in these sketchbooks in particular, you don't get as much of that as I have seen in other sketchbooks. Someone wanted me to expand on my process just a little bit, moving from ballpoint pen to watercolor. Ballpoint pen is a oil-based ink, and so this means it is going to resist watercolor because watercolor is a water-based pigment or water-based paint. And so any ballpoint pen, if you are using a Bic ballpoint or a Ballograph like I use, they all are an oil-based ink, and so when you apply it to the page, it will, when you watercolor over it, it will stay put. This is not the case when you use a gel pen, and sometimes when you use the Sakura quick dries or anything like that, even though it says that it's water resistant, it's not going to totally stay put unless you've given it some time to dry. You'll have to test that out. But I know for a fact that if you put ballpoint on any paper, it will stay put because it is an oil-based ink. So I do all the ballpoint most of the time first, and then I go over it with watercolor. And just like with the ballpoint, I use a lot of layers with my watercolor. So when I put a color down, I start with my lightest color first, and then I just work my way to the deepest tone or the last layer. It's the same thing with ballpoint. When I put it down, I'm starting off very light and doing a light pressure, and then I can build on top of that. I can use the same pressure throughout the whole entire sketch by just going over it and over it and over it and getting a deeper tone. You can also press harder with ballpoint pen. It creates a little bit of divot into the page, but it does create a thicker line. I really enjoy ballpoint in particular because it is very similar to sketching with regular pencils. You can get the same effect. I use kind of like a cross between cross hatching and a scribble to get my variated textures, or to kind of go from dark to light, my shading technique. And with watercolor, I'm very much using not only a put the pigment down and then blend it out with water, but also I will let it sit for just a minute and use the watercolor to my advantage. So some watercolors stain paper, so I'll leave it sitting there, it'll dry halfway, and then I'll come back in with a clean wet brush and I will start blending that out. So that's my process. I go more in depth in my lessons on my website. Actually, I do step by step on those lessons, and then also with the lessons on Patreon, with the exclusive videos, I will go more in depth in the process and kind of do it or talk about it as I go. If you want to check out my teaching style, I do have some lessons here on YouTube, or if you check out my website, there's a link at the top labeled free lessons. Check that out before you go into it any further. I'm really excited to finish up this sketchbook and do a flip through with you. If you have finished this video or made it this far, please give it a like, comment down below, share with your friends if you think they would be interested, and until next time, everybody, I'll see ya.